don't have to wait for perfect. Let that sink in for a moment. You don't need more time. You don't need more money. You don't need more connections or credentials or applause. You need commitment. You need a reason that burns hot enough to light a fire under your feet. Too many people are stuck because they're waiting for a clear sign, waiting for the right mood, waiting for the fear to go away. But the truth is, most of what you're waiting for shows up after you start moving. Clarity comes through action, not before it. Confidence is built through the doing, not the dreaming. You have everything you need right now to take the next step. Not everything for the whole journey, but everything for the next step. And that's all that's ever required. Think about a seed. When it's planted, it doesn't ask if the soil is perfect. It doesn't wait for the weather to stabilize. It breaks open and pushes through the dirt because that's what it's made to do. Growth is in its, and so is yours. You were built for progress. But progress doesn't ask for ideal conditions, it asks for movement. The enemy of growth isn't failure, it's hesitation. It's waiting for certainty in a world where certainty is rare. What you do have is breath in your lungs, a mind capable of learning, and a heart that still beats with purpose. And that is enough to begin. The truth is, most people have already convinced themselves that they're not ready, so they sit. They scroll. They compare. They make lists. They talk themselves out of the life they want because they think it's reserved for someone better equipped. But here's the real secret. Nobody starts fully equipped. Nobody begins with all the answers. That business you admire, it started in a spare bedroom. That transformation you wish you had, it started with a decision to say enough. That confident speaker you watch, they stuttered through their first try. You don't get to skip the starting line. You grow into the role. You become ready by showing up unready. That's the difference between people who make it and people who just talk about it. Start where you are. That might mean you're tired. It might mean you're broke. It might mean you've failed before and you're scared to try again. But those aren't roadblocks. They are raw material. Your past is not your prison, it's your foundation. Some of the greatest breakthroughs were born out of breakdowns. Some of the most iconic comebacks happened when nothing was left but grit and heart. And maybe that's you right now. Maybe all you have is grit. Then let it carry you. You've got to stop disqualifying yourself from your own future. You've got to stop waiting to feel worthy. Start acting like it belongs to you, and your life will begin to shift. Use what you have. That doesn't mean settle, that means maximize. If all you have is 1 hour a day to work on your dream, then use that hour like it's sacred. If all you have is a voice, then speak. If all you have is a notebook and an idea, write it down. You don't have to leap the mountain today, but you've got to take the first step, and maybe the next step after that. That's how mountains are moved, 1 foot, 1 breath, 1 day at a time. Start from where it hurts. Start from where it's uncertain. Start in your doubt, start in your fear, start in the mess. But start. Because action cures fear and purpose beats perfection every time. Waiting will cost you more than failing ever will. You can course correct a moving car, but you can't steer a parked one. So don't let the size of your dream scare you out of starting. The dream isn't asking you to have all the answers, it's asking you to show up. To show up with what you've got and trust that the rest will come. Because it will. It's easy to dream, it's easy to speak about what we want, to create vision boards, to write out affirmations, and to talk to others about our goals. But the space between saying and having, between desiring and achieving, is filled with something far less glamorous: discipline. Discipline is not the spark that excites you at the beginning of the journey. It's the fire that keeps burning when the excitement has faded, when no one is watching, and when results haven't shown up yet. If motivation is the wind at your back, discipline is the legs that keep you moving when the wind dies down. Every person you admire, every story of success, every great legacy that has ever been built, they all share one common thread: the refusal to rely solely on motivation. Because motivation is a mood, and moods are unpredictable. Discipline, on the other hand, is a decision. It is the quiet agreement you make with yourself that says, no matter how I feel today, I will do what needs to be done. Discipline doesn't require you to feel good. It demands that you stay true. And if there is anything that separates those who reach their goals from those who only talk about them, it is the willingness to act, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's uncomfortable, and especially when it's lonely. There are going to be days when you don't feel like doing the work, days when your body is tired, your mind is foggy, your emotions are low. On those days, discipline is your anchor. It's what gets you out of bed when your excuses sound convincing. It's what opens your laptop when the distractions feel louder. It's what takes you to the gym when your legs are sore and your willpower is thin. And over time, those repeated choices, made in the shadows, build something extraordinary in the light. People think success is a product of talent or luck, but that's only part of the story. Talent may give you a head start, luck may open a door, but neither of those things will carry you through the storm. Only discipline can do that. Only the consistent, unglamorous repetition of the right actions day after day can turn a dream into a reality. And the best part, discipline doesn't belong to the naturally gifted or the lucky few. It's a skill, and like any skill, it can be built. It's built every time you say no to the temporary and yes to the meaningful. It's built every time you override your feelings and choose your values. It's built every time you remind yourself of your purpose and then prove it with action. There is power in structure. There is strength in routine. The person who builds habits that support their future becomes unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because they become stronger. Discipline gives you control. It silences the chaos of emotion and puts you in the driver's seat. When you are disciplined, you no longer wait for ideal circumstances to act. You don't need to feel like you show up anyway. You become reliable. And in a world full of noise, distractions, and quick fixes, reliability is a rare and powerful thing. Let's be honest, discipline isn't always exciting. It doesn't always feel rewarding in the moment. Sometimes it feels like sacrifice. Sometimes it feels like isolation. But those are the seeds. And if you keep planting them, if you keep showing up when it's hard, when it's boring, when no one claps for you, you will eventually reap a harvest that others will call lucky. They won't see the days you got up early. They won't know how many temptations you resisted. They won't feel the sting of the nights you stayed in and did the work while the world celebrated without you. But you will know. And you'll carry that quiet pride in your chest, not because you had it easy, but because you earned it. Discipline is the price you pay for freedom. It's the down payment on a future you can be proud of. You don't need to do everything perfectly. You just need to do the right things consistently. One step at a time, one decision at a time. And as you keep stacking those days, as you keep proving to yourself that you can be trusted, something incredible starts to happen. Your confidence grows. Your vision becomes sharper. You stop questioning whether it's possible and start asking how far you can really go. Your focus is your power. What you give your attention to will shape your reality. Every day you're being pulled in 100 directions, notifications buzzing, opinions shouting, doubts whispering, distractions lurking behind every corner. And yet, within that chaos, you hold a power most people never learn how to use: your focus. The ability to direct your mind, to lock in on what matters and block out the rest, is one of the rarest and most valuable skills you can develop. Because where your focus goes, your energy flows, and where your energy flows, your life follows. It's not that people lack potential, it's that their potential is constantly scattered. It's buried under busyness, anxiety, comparison, and entertainment. They start the day with goals, but get hijacked by urgency, opinions, and shiny distractions. They want to grow, but they can't stay focused long enough to build anything real. They jump from one idea to the next, one task to another, hoping something will stick, something will finally work. But growth doesn't come from speed. It comes from direction. It comes from pouring your time and effort into what aligns with your purpose and shutting the door on anything that doesn't. Focus is your superpower. When you learn to control what gets your attention, you start taking control of your outcomes. And the beautiful truth is, you don't have to chase everything. You don't have to be everything. You just have to choose what matters and then build your life around it. Not out of pressure, but out of clarity. Focus doesn't mean doing more. It means doing less with more intensity. It means cutting out the noise so you can amplify the signal. When you focus on problems, problems grow. When you focus on fears, they paralyze you. But when you focus on solutions, on growth, on what's in your control, something shifts. You start moving, you start finding strength, you start realizing that so much of what once felt overwhelming wasn't the situation, it was your scattered energy. Even pain becomes manageable when you bring your focus to purpose. Even fear begins to shrink when you bring your focus to progress. So protect your mind, guard it like a treasure because it is. Eliminate distractions, not because you're weak, but because your vision is too important to dilute. Be intentional with what you let in, the voices, the media, the conversations, the habits, because everything you absorb either fuels your mission or fragments your momentum. Discipline makes you consistent, but focus makes you powerful. When you know what matters and give it your full presence, everything changes. And the best part is, focus can be trained. Start small, 1 hour of deep work, one task with 0 distractions, one moment of being fully present. Then do it again and again. That's how you reclaim your mind. That's how you take your power back. That's how you build a future that's not driven by noise, but by purpose. Hard times will test you. Let them refine you. There's a truth that most people try to avoid, but the strong learn to embrace. You cannot grow without pressure. You cannot become more without discomfort. And the most defining moments of your life won't come when everything is going your way. They will come when everything feels like it's falling apart. Pain is not the enemy. Failure is not the enemy. Being tested is not punishment. It's preparation. Hard times don't come to destroy you. They come to reveal you. They show you what's real and what's weak. They strip away illusions. They confront your ego. They challenge the stories you've told yourself about who you are and what you're capable of. And, if you let them, they forge a new version of you, stronger, wiser, more grounded. Nobody escapes adversity. It's not a question of if life will hit you, it's a question of how you'll respond when it does. Will you collapse or will you adapt? Will you play the victim or will you rise like a warrior? The pressure you're feeling right now, whether it's financial, emotional, relational, spiritual, is not evidence that you're failing. It's evidence that you're in the fire. And the fire is where transformation happens. You don't build strength in comfort. You build strength by surviving what was meant to break you. You build strength by standing up one more time than you fall. You build strength by learning the lesson, not just feeling the pain. And over time, you begin to realize that the pain wasn't permanent, but the person it made you into is. Let life hit you and hit back with purpose. Don't run from adversity. Don't numb yourself to it. Face it, use it, let it stretch you, let it break the parts of you that were never meant to last, and let it awaken the parts that were sleeping. This is not where you give up. This is where you get sharp. This is where you get serious. This is where you become the version of yourself that's no longer shaken by storms because you've walked through fire and refused to quit. Hard times don't disqualify you from your future. They qualify you for it. They train your vision, harden your discipline, clarify your values. They are not a curse. They are the cost. And the question is not whether you're strong enough to survive them. It's whether you're willing to let them make you stronger. Protect your energy. Not everyone deserves access to you. There comes a point in your journey when you realize that your energy is your most valuable currency. Not your money, not your possessions, not even your time, because your time without energy is useless. You can give someone an hour of your day, but if your spirit is drained, your mind distracted, and your peace disturbed, that hour has no power. Your energy is what gives meaning to your time, and you have to start guarding it like your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Not everyone deserves access to you. That's not pride, it's wisdom. You cannot allow people who drain you, doubt you, or constantly derail your focus to sit at the table where you're building your future. Some relationships, some environments, and some conversations aren't just unproductive, they're destructive. They leave you feeling smaller, scattered, second-guessing yourself, and over time that slowly kills your ambition. You must learn to separate kindness from access. You can love someone, care about them, and still refuse to give them front-row seats to your life if they refuse to support your growth. It's not selfish to protect your peace. It's not rude to say no. It's not arrogant to remove yourself from toxic patterns or people. In fact, it's essential. Because everything you want to build, become, and contribute requires a version of you that's focused, stable, and empowered. And you cannot become that version if you're constantly managing other people's chaos or carrying the emotional weight of their dysfunction. You've got to audit your circle. Who supports you? Who drains you? Who believes in your potential and who subtly mocks it? Who adds to your energy and who depletes it the moment they speak? Pay attention. Because energy doesn't lie. There are people who will clap for you as long as you're staying the same, but the moment you grow, the moment you decide to elevate, their true feelings show. And that's okay. Let them. You don't need everyone to understand you. You just need the courage to keep moving in the direction that's right for you, with or without applause. Your energy is sacred. It fuels your creativity, your vision, your discipline. And when you waste it on drama, resentment, arguments, or trying to please people who will never be satisfied, you rob yourself of the clarity and strength you need to keep climbing. So protect it with boundaries, with silence, with distance, with self-respect. Because every time you let someone's chaos dictate your peace, you trade your power for approval. And that's a price far too high. Protecting your energy isn't about isolation, it's about alignment. It's about surrounding yourself with people and environments that remind you of who you are and who you're becoming. It's about creating space in your life where you can think clearly, feel deeply, and act boldly without being pulled in every direction by noise that has nothing to do with your purpose. Stay committed to the process. Results take time. In a world that glorifies instant gratification, one of the greatest acts of rebellion is patience. One of the most courageous decisions you can make is to keep showing up even when the results aren't immediate, even when the progress feels invisible. Because growth is not always loud. Success is not always sudden. And transformation, real, deep, lasting transformation, always takes time. The process will test you. It will stretch you. It will feel like nothing is working. You'll be doing the right things, showing up, working hard, sacrificing sleep, turning down distractions, and yet it might feel like you're going nowhere. But that's an illusion. What looks like stagnation on the outside is often deep formation on the inside. Roots grow before fruit shows. And you cannot skip that part. You cannot demand the harvest before the seed has matured. This is where most people quit, not because they're incapable, not because they lack talent, but because they expected quick returns. They planted the seed and stood over it, waiting, watching, growing impatient, and when nothing appeared right away, they walked away. What they didn't realize is that every day they stayed committed, something was happening beneath the surface. Endurance was being built, character was being formed, and the foundation for future success was being laid. You don't get to control how fast it grows. You only get to control how faithful you are to the process. And make no mistake, The process is sacred. It's where you earn the right to handle the results you're praying for, because results without preparation don't last. But results that come from consistency, from hard days, from discipline and sacrifice, those results have depth. They build a life that's not just impressive, but unshakable. Stop asking, is it working, and start asking, am I working? Are you showing up with intention? Are you staying focused when it's boring? Are you moving forward when it's hard? If the answer is yes, then trust this, results are coming. They may not come when you want them. They may not look the way you imagined, but if you stay faithful to the process, they will come. This is where you separate yourself. This is where the real ones rise. When everyone else gets distracted, discouraged, or disappointed, you keep your head down and your spirit up. You stay rooted. You keep building. You keep investing in your craft, your health, your mind, your future. Not because it's easy, but because you believe that what's on the other side of this process is worth every ounce of patience, every lonely hour, every day that you chose persistence over perfection. There will be days when nothing makes sense, when the progress is invisible, when the energy is low and the pressure is high, days when your goals feel far away, your motivation feels gone, and quitting starts whispering seductive promises in your ear. And in those moments, not the good ones, but those ones, you'll need to reach deep, deeper than excitement, deeper than external validation. You'll need to remember why you started, because your real reason, is the only thing strong enough to carry you through when everything else breaks down. Truth is, purpose outlasts pain, and when the pain comes, and it always comes, you need something to anchor you. A reason that's bigger than your fatigue, bigger than your doubts, bigger than the voice in your head saying, this isn't worth it. If you don't have that reason, the world will give you one to quit. It'll offer you comfort. It'll offer you convenience. It'll tempt you with easy exits and sweet-sounding excuses. But if your purpose is real, if it's planted deep inside your spirit, you'll rise again. Not because it's easy, but because you must. Everyone starts with fire in their eyes. The beginning is exciting, it's fresh. You got dreams, goals, momentum. But beginnings are easy. It's the middle that's hard. It's the days when the excitement fades and the work begins. It's the sacrifices, the setbacks, the lonely nights when you wonder if anyone even sees how hard you're trying. That's where most people give up. Not because they don't want it, but because they forgot why they wanted it. You have to remind yourself daily, sometimes hourly, why you're here, why you chose this path, why you said yes to the challenge, because the pain of discipline will always be better than the pain of regret. The pain of staying in the fight is real, but so is the pain of walking away and wondering what could have happened if you had just held on a little longer. And sometimes it helps to go back to the beginning, back to the version of you who was tired of settling, who was hungry for change, who dared to believe there was more to life than survival. That person, that you, had a spark. And that spark is still there. It may be buried under disappointment. It may be dimmed by stress, but it's not gone. It's waiting to be reignited by your own commitment to rise, to remember, and to keep going. Purpose isn't a feeling, it's a fire. And fires must be fed. You feed it with action, with vision, with truth. You feed it by showing up on the days you don't feel like it, by speaking life into your own future when no one else does, by keeping your word to yourself when nobody's watching. That's how you build resilience. That's how you push through, not because it's painless, but because it's worth it. You've got to get clear. What's at stake if you give up? Who's watching you? Who are you becoming? What's a life you're building? These aren't motivational questions, they're survival tools. They remind you that this fight isn't just about comfort, it's about becoming, about honoring the gift of life by refusing to shrink in the face of pressure. Because here's the truth, your purpose won't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it sits silently in your soul, waiting for you to listen. You'll hear it not in the noise, but in the stillness, in the quiet conviction that says, don't stop. This matters. You matter. And when you hear that voice, even faintly you follow it. That's your compass. Don't confuse tired with done. You can be exhausted and still destined. You can feel broken and still be being built. The presence of pain does not mean the absence of purpose. It often means you're closer than you realize, closer to the breakthrough, the lesson, the growth. And when the journey feels darkest, that's when you need your reason most. Write it down, speak it out loud, hold it in your heart like a weapon against everything trying to tear you away from your mission. You didn't come this far to only come this far. You didn't survive the setbacks, the storms, the silent battles just to surrender at the edge of something new. Remember why you started, and then recommit, reignite, refocus, because the journey isn't over. It's just beginning again, stronger than before. So here you are, standing in the middle of your story, not at the start where dreams are fresh and motivation runs high, not at the finish where results shine and applause is loud, but right here in the thick of it, where the days are long, the progress is slow, and the silence can feel deafening. But let me remind you of something powerful. This is the part that builds you. This is the stretch of road that most avoid, but where champions are made. This is where you rise, because you didn't come this far just to get tired and turn around. You didn't pour your time, your heart, your soul into this mission just to hand it over to fear, fatigue, or frustration. No. You are still standing for a reason. There is still a pulse in your purpose. There is still breath in your fight. That means there's more ahead. And you owe it to yourself to see what's waiting on the other side of this storm. Stay focused, not just on the outcome, but on the person you're becoming. Stay grounded, not in the noise, but in your why. Guard your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Commit to the process like your future depends on it, because it does. And when everything feels heavy, when nothing seems to be working, remind yourself of the fire that started this journey in the first place. Let it burn again. Don't wait for perfect days. Don't beg for easier paths. Instead, become stronger, become wiser, become so deeply anchored in your vision that no delay, no detour, no discouragement can steal your momentum. Because if you just keep going, really keep going, there will come a day when you look back and realize the struggle didn't break you, it built you. And that's the victory that no one can take.